defend the digital realm, cybercrime is escalating and companies need skilled cybersecurity experts. Join Softafreak Group, a top IT company, and kickstart your career with our 16-week online cybersecurity course. Learn from the best. Our course, crafted by expert cybersecurity professionals, gives you hands-on skills with cutting-edge tools like Wireshark, Metasploit, Nmap, Burp Suite, and more. No prior experience? No problem. We guide you every step of the way. Gain real-world experience with your own virtual computer. Practice in a safe, simulated environment, tackling cyber threats, securing networks, and mastering ethical hacking techniques. We don't just teach you skills, we prepare you for success. Our team helps you craft a standout resume and ace your interviews, ensuring you land your dream job in cybersecurity. Don't wait for cyber threats to strike. Become the solution. Enroll in Softafreak Group's 16-week cybersecurity course today and start your journey to a high-paying career. Visit portal.softafreak.net to sign up now. Call for the USA plus 15029667638 and for Ghana plus 2332687888884. Hey, future cybersecurity pro, ready to defend the digital realm? Cybercrime is escalating and companies need skilled cybersecurity experts. Join Softafreak Group, a top IT company, and kickstart your career with our 16-week online cybersecurity course. Learn from the best. Our course, crafted by expert cybersecurity professionals, gives you hands-on skills with cutting-edge tools like Wireshark, Metasploit, Nmap, Burp Suite, and more. No prior experience? No problem. We guide you every step of the way. Gain real-world experience with your own virtual computer. Practice in a safe, simulated environment, tackling cyber threats, securing networks, and mastering ethical hacking techniques. We don't just teach you skills, we prepare you for success. Our team helps you craft a standout resume and ace your interviews, ensuring you land your dream job in cybersecurity. Don't wait for cyber threats to strike. Become the solution. Enroll in Softafreak Group's 16-week cybersecurity course today and start your journey to a high-paying career. Visit portal.softafreak.net to sign up now. Call for the USA plus 15029667638 and for Ghana plus 2332687888884. Hey, future cybersecurity pro, ready to defend the digital realm? Cybercrime is escalating and companies need skilled cybersecurity experts. Join Softafreak Group, a top IT company, and kickstart your career with our 16-week online cybersecurity course. Learn from the best. Our course, crafted by expert cybersecurity professionals, gives you hands-on skills with cutting-edge tools like Wireshark, Metasploit, Nmap, Burp Suite, and more. No prior experience? No problem. We guide you every step of the way. Gain real-world experience with your own virtual computer. Practice in a safe, simulated environment, tackling cyber threats, securing networks, and mastering ethical hacking techniques. We don't just teach you skills, we prepare you for success. Our team helps you craft a standout resume and ace your interviews, ensuring you land your dream job in cybersecurity. Don't wait for cyber threats to strike. Become the solution.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So thank you guys for joining in and welcome to another episode of Threat Intelligence Seminar. Now, the idea of this seminar is we are here to just educate ourselves about how we can protect ourselves in a digital space. So the basic things that we could do to protect ourselves against attackers. This is why we meet every Wednesday to talk about this. Now, as you know already, our threat intelligence seminar is always grouped into two parts. So the first part being our video awareness training, and the second part being our presentation session, or sometimes our practical session. So I will not waste much time. We will jump into our first session. Now, the idea of the first session is that we're just here to watch an animated video. These animated videos are about cybersecurity, and we are just here to learn or to watch the video, take one or two things from the video, and when we are done with this particular video, we would answer the questions that it brings us at the end of it. So please pay attention to the video. I'll play it 2 times so we get more understanding of this video. And when we are done with this particular video, we would go ahead, answer the questions, and then we will move on to our second part, which is the presentation session. Okay, so let me just do that. And I'll be sharing my screen as we go ahead to our first session. Okay, so let's just do that and let's go.
Binance, a leading cryptocurrency exchange, was recently hacked, with criminals stealing $41 million in Bitcoin. While the immediate cost of the breach is known, the long-term costs associated with a loss in public trust is beyond measure.
I got here as fast as I could. What do we know?
The culprit's identity, for starters. Jeff Parsons. Your team, isn't he? He leaked the source code that led to this mess.
I see. This is how it's gonna be? Blame game? Every man and woman for themselves?
Well, the shareholders and public are gonna want answers. I have an obligation to give them that.
What about your obligation to give them the truth? Before you go any further throwing me under the bus. There's something you should see.
What's this?
Documentation of Jeff's suspicious behavior. And there's plenty here, documenting numerous incidents.
Is there a reason I'm just hearing about this now?
Well, I was planning on telling you.
The first incident happened right after Jeff started. Almost immediately, he requested access to our network's protected drives. When I asked him about it, he said he was just curious about how the organization works. But I found it suspicious, so I reported it.
Any follow-up?
No. A few weeks later, I noticed Jeff was working remotely with increased frequency and accessing the network during off hours.
It's really not that uncommon, especially when project deadlines are approaching.
True, but as his manager, I knew he didn't have any approaching deadlines, which is why I reported this. Again, no follow-up. The final instance came when I caught Jeff plugging a USB drive into a company desktop. It didn't work, because our USB ports reject storage devices by policy. But still, the attempt was made. I reported this as well.
Again unheeded?
Correct. I understand the media and the public will want someone to blame for this. But if your plan is to make me the scapegoat, I suggest you look elsewhere.
Well, anything you'd like to add?
Maybe it's best we move past this. Get to work on what really matters, like mapping out ways to restore the public's trust in our industry.
Sounds like a plan. We got a lot to accomplish. Why waste any more time?
Binance, a leading cryptocurrency exchange, was recently hacked, with criminals stealing $41 million in Bitcoin. While the immediate cost of the breach is known, the long-term cost associated with a loss in public trust is beyond measure.
I got here as fast as I could. What do we know?
The culprit's identity, for starters. Jeff Parsons. Your team, isn't he? He leaked the source code that led to this mess.
I see. This is how it's gonna be? Blame game? Every man and woman for themselves?
Well, the shareholders and public are gonna want answers. I have an obligation to give them that.
What about your obligation to give them the truth? Before you go any further throwing me under the bus, there's something you should see.
What's this?
Documentation of Jeff's suspicious behavior. And there's plenty here documented numerous incidents.
Is there a reason I'm just hearing about this now?
Well, I was planning on telling you.
The first incident happened right after Jeff started. Almost immediately, he requested access to our network's protected drives. When I asked him about it, he said he was just curious about how the organization works. But I found it suspicious, so I reported it.
Any follow-up?
No. A few weeks later, I noticed Jeff was working remotely with increased frequency and accessing the network during off hours.
It's really not that uncommon, especially when project deadlines are approaching.
True, but as his manager, I knew he didn't have any approaching deadlines, which is why I reported this. Again, no follow-up. The final instance came when I caught Jeff plugging a USB drive into a company desktop. It didn't work, because our USB ports reject storage devices by policy. But still, the attempt was made. I reported this as well.
Again, unheeded?
Correct. I understand the media and the public will want someone to blame for this. But if your plan is to make me the scapegoat, I suggest you look elsewhere.
Well, anything you'd like to add?
Maybe it's best we move past this. Get to work on what really matters. Like mapping out ways to restore the public's trust in our industry.
Sounds like a plan. We got a lot to accomplish. Why waste any more time?
All right, so yes, cybersecurity is a comprehensive, or everybody must be part of it. It is a collective effort, and we must do that together. So let's go in here and take this particular quiz, and then we would move on to our second part, our second session, where we will talk about a presentation, or we're looking at a resource person to come in and give us a wonderful presentation, right? Let's look at the questions. So I will be reading the questions, and you provide me the answer based on what we just watched, all right? So just unmute yourselves if you know the answer, and just provide us the answer real quick, okay? So let's look at question number 1. True or false statement. A breach could be caused by an employee of any level. True or false?
True.
True. I think we all agree to this. All right, let's go into the second question. The most common cause of a data breach is, the first one is electrical issue. The second one is human behavior. The third one is computer viruses. And the last one being poor weather.
Human
What do you
behavior.
think? Human behavior. Okay. All right, let's look at question number 3. When using a USB or any personal media device in your workplace, you must. These are the options. Avoid asking your superior for permission. Feel free to copy work files to the USB and bring them home with you. Follow your organization's policy regarding the use of personal media devices at work. Give the USB, which contains company data, to a friend.
Follow your organization policy regarding the use of
Follow the
personal media
organization
devices.
policy.
Okay, perfect. Let's look at question number 4. What should you do if you see a colleague sharing sensitive information? The first option says pretend that nothing has happened. The second one says ask him to share it with you. The third one says report it to your supervisor. The last one says start to share sensitive information without permission. What do you think?
Report it to
Report it to
your
the supervisor.
supervisor.
Okay, report it to your supervisor. All right, perfect. So thank you guys for the contribution. And I believe that based on what we just watched, we have understood this particular video where we know that we must also hold others accountable, others in our workplace. If we see any suspicious behavior, we must report because a lot of cybersecurity incidents mostly result from human behavior or human error or human issues, let me say that way. So that is that for our first session. That's our video awareness training. We'll go on to our second session where we are looking to do a presentation with a little bit of demonstration. Today's presentation will be done by Yabua. Yabua is cybersecurity personnel and she's still learning more. So yeah, if you are here, the floor is yours. Can you give him permission to her permission to share her screen, Paddy?
Hi everyone, how are you doing today?
We are fine. Yeah. What about you?
We are all doing
Um,
great.
fine.
Okay.
So as Thomas said, my name is Yaya Boa and I'll be taking you through the presentation today. So today I will be talking about Nexus, Tenable. So Tenable is basically a vulnerability scanning used by cybersecurity professionals to identify security weaknesses in networks, systems, and applications. And I'm gonna do a PowerPoint presentation real quick and then we'll go into the hands-on presentation. Second. Thomas,
Yep.
are you the
Paddy.
administrator? Oh, okay, give me 1 second. It wasn't letting me share. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay. So. All right. So let me start from the top. All right, so vulnerability management with Nexus, a comprehensive guide to using Tenable Nexus for effective vulnerability assessments and management in enterprise environments. Today's objectives. Sorry, let me get this out of the way. In this hands-on presentation, we'll explore the practical implementation of vulnerability management using Tenable Nexus. As I already explained, Tenable is used to scan for vulnerabilities in the environment. So with the environment set up, we'll So we'll configure our test environment using Oracle VirtualBox with Kali Linux, which I already have. We'll verify that the Nexus is properly installed and identify the IP address of our target system. The second one will be the service installation. So we will launch Nexus service through the Linux terminal and establish connectivity to the web interface. Understanding proper service management is crucial for consistent scanning operations. And then with the vulnerability assessment, we will execute comprehensive scans against virtual machines to identify security weakness. We will learn to interpret scan results and prioritize remediation effects based on the risk severity. And by the end of this session, we'll have practical experience with professional vulnerability management workflows used by security teams worldwide. Okay. This next slide is basically the breakdown of the setup of what I'm going to do when we get to the VirtualBox. So we'll do the terminal navigation and system management. I'll begin by demonstrating through Oracle VirtualBox and properly navigating through it. Okay, so creating advanced scan policies. Scan policies define the parameters and methodologies for vulnerability assessments. Creating custom policies allows security teams to tailor scans to specific organizational requirements and compliance frameworks. Yeah. Sorry, trying to move this screen over. All right. Okay, so policy creation. We'll navigate to policy sections and select new policy. We will choose advanced scan template for comprehensive vulnerability detection capabilities, including network services, web applications, and system configurations. The next step will be the configuration setup. We'll name our policy and then configure the scan timing. I'll also perform settings and report formats for learning purposes. I'll use default setting while understanding their impact on scan throughout NIST. And we'll talk about credential and plugins. So as far as the credential and plugins, I'm not sure if you guys are in the field and if you have a virtual machine, but when it comes to the credentials, you can use your virtual machine logins and password to create your credentials so that you can use that for that part. I will be skipping that part because I feel like it would just prolong everything. And then the next step will be the scan deployment. So I'll save the policy and create a new scan. And once the scan is done, we'll go through it and see if there are any vulnerabilities that were found or not. Okay. And then the scan execution process. Creating and launching your first vulnerability scan represents a critical milestone in security assessment. Proper target specification and scan monitoring ensure comprehensive coverage of your attack surface. So scan configuration, provide descriptive name for my scan, and then I'll enter my IP address and we'll go through that. Execution monitoring. Or monitor the progress through the web interface, observing real-time vulnerability discovery and system response. And once all of that is done, we will see if we have a critical vulnerability, a high severity, or a medium low findings. All right, and with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and take us through the process of the scan. Minimize that. I already have my lit, so I'm gonna start with my Kali Linux. So this is what it looks like when you log into the Kali VirtualBox. And to find out where I am, I'm going to go to my terminal. And I will type in EWD, which will show my home. So I'll check my directory to make sure that Tenable is downloaded. So with that, I will type in CD downloads, which I already have. And then to make sure that Tenable is working and it's still executable, I'm gonna type in ls -l and enter. Okay, so it is there. All right, so because I am not using my root network, and to find out that Tenable will initiate, I'm gonna type in system. Okay, so now that Tenable has been initiated, I'm gonna go ahead and go to my Firefox. But so for those of you that don't have Nexus, you can go on their website and download it. I didn't want to go through that whole process because it takes a while, but you can do that on your free time if you want to download the Nexus. You can just go to their website and download it. So with that said, I already have it opened here. And my logins are already there, so. All right. I did a little testing on my own, so that's what you're seeing on my screen. But when you come here, you go to scans, and then you go under policies. So under policies, as you can see, I already created some scans here. But to create a new scan, we will go to new policy. And then we will click on advanced scan. So under the advanced scan, you have settings, you have credentials, and then you have plugins. I'm just gonna do a basic scan. So with the credentials is to scan for more information on the VM. And if you have the credentials, you can use your VM username and password to log in for the credentials. And then the domain will be the Software Freak Network domain. So since I'm gonna skip that, I'll just go back to settings and I'll just do a basic scan. I would name it demo and I'll press save. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay. I'm gonna minimize this so it's out of the way, and that way you guys can see my full screen. Okay. So I'll go back to my scans. And then I'll do new scan. And I'll click on advanced scan again. So now I will name that demo 2 because we already have one with the demo in it. Show scan works. You don't really have to put anything in the description, but if you want to, you can. And I'm gonna be scanning one of the networks from our Software Freak. And with that, I will type in the network 192.168.147.83. And here it gives you the option to save. And also when you click the down arrow, you have a launch. So you can save or launch the scan. And I'm gonna launch the scan. This might take a while because it's scanning for the vulnerabilities. Oh, there we go. So it's done and I'm gonna launch it. Okay, since it's completed, we'll go to vulnerabilities. And there were no vulnerabilities found. So we are good on that part. We'll go back to host. And that will conclude my demo. Is everything okay? Did you guys follow what I was doing?
Yes, I did. And
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay. So I have a
Can
couple of
I stop
questions.
sharing or do you still want me to share?
Yeah, leave it open. We just discuss it.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. I think that was very very good. So first things first, I wanted to ask what the tool is actually used for. I'm sure you may have mentioned it initially, but let's just say I'm a lay person. I have no idea why you even did what you just did.
Mhm.
If I may ask, what do we just do, or what is the benefit of what we just did? That's my first question.
Okay, so basically we're using Tenable Nexus, which is a vulnerability scanner to scan for vulnerabilities in the environment.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is there could be a possibility of our network being vulnerable, meaning
Yeah.
uh, there could be certain loopholes within our network that we may not be aware of. And the only way to find that out is if we actually did a scan.
Using, yes.
And then this scanner would actually identify which assets are vulnerable, and then we would attend to them, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Uh, that's good. I mean, and then number two, um, if you find out after running a scan, say you picked up an IP address and then you run a scan,
Mhm.
and then you obtain results. Unfortunately, here we didn't really get anything, but for the purpose of those who may have not seen this before, don't know what this is about, uh, how are you able to tell that there were some type of vulnerabilities here on this particular scan that you just did? Is there any other scan that you've done already that has one or two vulnerabilities that you could just show us, and then maybe possibly tell us how that could be resolved?
Okay, give me 1 second. So I did a few, 1 second. I did one with Thomas this morning. So let's see if that came up, because that took a while to come up. Okay, there were none for that one. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So there was this one with some.
Was that a public IP or a private IP address?
Public.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we'll go to info. It's very blurry. I don't know if you guys can see it or not.
Yeah, but I think the idea is there is a vulnerability there, and Nexus will go ahead to tell you what the vulnerability is, and also it will suggest some solutions for you. I believe that's what is there, correct?
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'll go back. Oh, I'll go back to my scans. Let's see if this one had any vulnerabilities. This one didn't. Okay.
Mm.
So basically, it looks like this is the only one that had vulnerabilities.
Okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't anything like severe or high.
Mm.
Yeah.
You also mentioned credential scan, and I believe if there's credential, there's non-credential scan. What is the difference between the two?
So with the credential scan, you scan for more information in the network. And as compared to non-credential scans is basically like a basic scan just to scan for a little bit of vulnerability.
That's not it. Sorry, Kwame, I was trying to help.
No, don't help.
That's
You're
fine.
sitting here.
That's,
You're just sitting here as a spectator.
that's fine,
Okay,
Michael.
So if I could help, I
He's a
think
spectator.
credential scanning, the credentials are supposed to help you authenticate. So credential
Absolutely.
scanning is what somebody that works for the company or like an internal personnel will do. Basically, they have the login credentials. It could be a secret. It could be a username and password. So if you have the credential, or if you orchestrate a credential scan and authenticator scans, because you provided the VM or the virtual machine its credentials, it finds it's open and it provides more details on misconfigurations, flaws that the system might have, or the vulnerabilities that are available. In this case, when she created a scan policy, she did not provide a credential. I did a test on my test machine yesterday with her, and we used my virtual machine. She provided login credentials for virtual machine. Unfortunately, it's on my computer, so I can show that. Show like few highs and critical. So credential basically helps authenticate the virtual machine that you're scanning, or the VM or infrastructure that you're scanning. And non-credential is basically what a script kiddie or somebody without access would do, like basically yeah, exactly. So
all right, I'm glad you're there, giving her the support that she needs, which is really good. Yes, you are absolutely correct. The credential more or less means that you've been given access to the entire system, the admin username and password. So you have access to the entire system, and you can equally scan every part of it. And if there were any misconfigurations or any malware or anything in there that needs to come out, that'll bring it out. But since you're there, I noticed that she was trying to scan an IP address that she won't be able to reach. Did you catch that, or you didn't see that, Michael?
I did. I did, but I was trying to help, but then she wouldn't let me. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean, initially,
I used mine. It didn't come up with anything, so I used a different one. I used the one that he gave us in class.
Okay. Well, you tried.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, since we're on Tenable, I Tenable do have I think she mentioned malware during the presentation. For the most part, Tenable does not scan for malware. It scans for misconfigurations and flaws. I think Defender is a malware too. Tenable might have a malware solution, but I think it's known for infrastructure vulnerability management.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, well, I'll help illustrate the difference between malware and misconfigurations. But yeah.
Right. All right. But she did good though. She did good.
Yeah,
I think
very
that's a
well.
great presentation. Yeah, I think that's a great presentation. Anyway, that's all for
Thank
me. If
you.
anybody has any other questions?
Okay.
All right.
I'll ask
Okay,
one
good.
question. So let's say that you did find a vulnerability. How can you? What is one thing that you could do to fix it? Let's say you did scan your system. There were a lot of vulnerabilities, 10 vulnerabilities, and mostly vulnerabilities are from applications, right? What are
Yeah.
some things that you would do to fix it?
Yeah. You want to answer? Or?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So like, unfortunately, Tenable comes with a risk scoring or vulnerability scoring, critical, high, medium, and low. For most organizations, I think critical is obvious. Like, if the patch is available. So for the most, like, let's say that if we were doing a Red Hat virtual machine, and then maybe we had an ELSER critical vulnerabilities. If that patch is available, we just go ahead and like patch it, like basically download the patch and then reboot the system. So I think I'm saying that we tackle critical first and then low. For the most part, the SLAs that I've seen assigned to these vulnerabilities, like, 15 days for critical, 30 days for high, 60 days medium, and so on and so forth. So if this was let's say if this was a software freak, if we had a bunch of vulnerabilities for software freaks range of VMs, we would tackle the critical ones first. And if the patch was not available, I think in most cases, the identified vulnerability is ticketed and documented, and then documented in the POEM, plan of action and milestone, and then it's reviewed depending on the company's policies and procedures, quarterly basis or monthly basis. Yeah, that's what I think will happen. And
Okay.
in some organizations, they do have the vulnerability engineer or security analyst that is taking care of vulnerabilities. Might be the same person patching the systems. In other cases, those vulnerabilities identified by the analyst is ticketed and then assigned to the patch management team. So it varies depending on organizations.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the answer. Any question for this? Any question? If you're out there, you want to ask a question, please feel
Yeah,
free to do
I
it.
think. Thank you very much. For my question, I want to double up with the application vulnerability scanning. So we refer to non-credential vis-a-vis credential scanning. So let's take, for instance, you have an application that you actually scan. Are you referring to the credential being, let's say, an admin designated login where you are going to actually input this into Nexus in order for you to be able to run a credential scan, or it's going to be the username password of the box on which the application is residing?
Okay, so I think there's a little bit of a confusion over there. I think when we talk about applications and systems, there are two different things. So if we're dealing with let's assume you're talking about a system, right? Not an application. So if we're doing, since we are doing a system, let's assume virtual machine, right? I think as long as you have a credential, admin might give you a wider perspective on the flaws on the in a particular system. But then if you're a base user, you still probably see maybe 80% or 90% of those vulnerabilities. But then it's like the way vulnerabilities are tackled is still the same. Like once vulnerability is identified, the first thing we look for is whether the patch is available. And like I said, depending on the organization, whoever the analyst is might be the same person fixing the vulnerabilities. And if you have access, like let's say the virtual machine that I was working on, if she had access, there's a path. Tenable provides a path where that vulnerability was identified. I think when you go to the output tab in Tenable, it gives you the path, and that's how you fix the vulnerability, or that's how you patch it, basically. And if you're, go ahead.
No, finish. I wanted to add it to what you're saying. Yes,
Okay, so and if we're talking about applications, the reason why I was trying to strike a difference between applications and systems or infrastructure is that so application vulnerabilities are not necessarily identified by maybe Tenable Infrastructure Vulnerability Management tool. They just recently acquired or produced a product that scan applications. So if this was an application, that was where depending on the company's SDLC, software development lifecycle, will come into place. Where because a vulnerability that is identified on an application is basically different from what is identified on the system, right? So let's say that there's a cross-site scripting on an application. We're looking at the source code, right? So if the company's code base is in GitHub and they identify that vulnerability in their repo, they will have to fix that vulnerability in the repo. That involves developers and the financial aspect of things, like how it's going to affect the application itself. So to go in, let's say that maybe Endpoint Semantic was a software and it had a cross-site scripting, and that these are developers, these are vulnerabilities that a developer is going to fix, like somebody that actually codes, and they might propose that it will be fixed in the next version of Endpoint Semantic, or they're actually going to maybe roll back UAT and then fix the vulnerability. And all of this have to go into considerations. So I'm just trying to say that systems are basically different from softwares.
All right. So yeah, I just wanted to add to what Michael just said. So with the question that you just asked, Al, the credential gives the user the opportunity to actually have access to the entire system. It's like logging into a computer system with admin right. So if you have that admin right to log into the system, you can access almost every part of the system. So that gives Nexus the ability to scan every part of it. And application could be installed on that same system. So if there's application installed on that same system and that application is vulnerable, I believe we all know that applications that are developed every now and then, there's a likelihood of a loophole in the application, because if you've developed an application today and you have people using the application, there's a chance that they might find some type of a loophole or some type of vulnerability in the application that would be exploited by cyber criminals. And so if the user, sorry, if the vendor that created the application gets to know about the vulnerability in their application, they now turn out to come up with a second version or a newer version of what they came up with before. And they would actually come out and let the whole public know that their previous version is vulnerable and that they are out with a newer version. And so everyone that is using the application should get to the new one and then get rid of the old one. What Nexus plugins will do is, because this information is out, it will begin to look for all these old version of the application. So when you run your scan on the computer system and you identify that the application that you just found is the old version, which is vulnerable, Tenable is going to tell you that this is an application that is old. There's a new version out. So that's what Michael was saying. If there's a patch, means that if there is a newer version of the older application that you're seeing, then you may want to take out the old one and then install the new one. So Tenable's plugin is always keeping track of what vendors, software developers have actually come out to say, that these ones are no longer as complete or as protected as when they first built it, because some type of vulnerability has been identified in them. And so they've come up with a newer version that has that vulnerability resolved. And so it would actually have you install a new version, and then the new version would actually be the one that has no vulnerability. So Tenable or Nexus is always helping us to keep up with all, because there could be so many applications that you could have on one machine. And as an individual, you can be going through it one after the other to see which one is vulnerable by just reading the news. That won't be possible. But a tool like Nexus, when run on your machine, will bring up all these applications that may have been out of patch, meaning that they be reported not to be up to date. And then you get to know, and if the patch is available, that is, if there's a newer version out there, then you actually would want to update to that. One may ask a question: what if there's a vulnerability identified, but at the same time, there isn't a solution to it, or there isn't a patch to it? Most often than not, these vendors, when that becomes the problem, maybe they're still working on the patch, but it's not ready yet. They will give suggestions of what we call workaround. Workaround meaning that yes, your system could be vulnerable because of the software or the application that you have installed. But if you disable this, you disable that, or if you put this in place and put that in place, it will minimize the level of compromise that your system could face if you're still running our application. This is because they haven't come up with a solution yet. Or they could even tell you, disable the application for now until they have managed to bring in a complete patch before you go ahead and then install the application. So there are so many variables to this. But to clear your question with the credential and non-credential, the non-credential is just touching the surface, and then credential means that you've been given access, like admin access, to actually have the entire system open to you, so you can scan it and see whatever issue that I could have. I hope that helps in answering your question. Thanks.
Okay, thank you guys for both submissions. Any other question before we end today's session? Are you okay? At least we have a little bit of knowledge that we give. So thank you for our resource person for coming in and telling us and teaching us about Tenable Nexus and how we could use Nexus as a vulnerability management software. We could learn more from this. We could go into that and know that Tenable has a free version and you also have a paid version. So you could go in and use the free one, the essential one, to learn more about these things and get more hands-on knowledge about how you could scan your system. You could create a small system personally in your home, or let's say a small network, and try and work around as you learn more from today. So I would like to thank again, and I thank Mike for also coming in to help out. So, and also thank you, Kwame, for the submissions. If we don't have any more questions, then we'll end today's seminar here. And just know that, like I said, cybersecurity is a collective effort. You are responsible for safeguarding your company. Everyone must be involved. So as a company or wherever you find yourself in, you should do your part. As the security tools and cybersecurity professionals will also do their part, you should also do your part and make sure you protect your business, you protect your system, and you protect your network from these people, because attackers mostly are one step ahead of us in everything that they do, right? So I would like to end here, and I would like to say that wherever you find yourself, whether you're watching from social media, anywhere, if you want to learn cybersecurity, you can. It is not too late for anybody to be in cybersecurity. The world still needs a lot of cybersecurity professionals, so you can still learn cybersecurity. Just send us a message or send us from the email or social media, wherever you're watching. Just send us a message. You want to learn cybersecurity, we'll help you. We'll talk about it, how we could help you learn cybersecurity. Right. So, yes, if there are no announcements, we will meet again next week, Wednesday. So the time is 4 p.m. GMT or 12 EST for those in Canada and in the US. So thank you guys once again for joining in, and I'm hoping to see you all next week as we make this interactive as possible. We get to learn more and protect our system. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Hey, future cybersecurity pro, ready to defend the digital realm? Cybercrime is escalating and companies need skilled cybersecurity experts. Join Softafreak Group, a top IT company, and kickstart your career with our 16-week online cybersecurity course. Learn from the best. Our course, crafted by expert cybersecurity professionals, gives you hands-on skills with cutting-edge tools like Wireshark, Metasploit, Nmap, Burp Suite, and more. No prior experience? No problem. We guide you every step of the way. Gain real-world experience with your own virtual computer. Practice in a safe, simulated environment, tackling cyber threats, securing networks, and mastering ethical hacking techniques. We don't just teach you skills, we prepare you for success. Our team helps you craft a standout resume and ace your interviews, ensuring you land your dream job in cybersecurity. Don't wait for cyber threats to strike. Become the solution. Enroll in Softafreak Group's 16-week cybersecurity course today and start your journey to a high-paying career. Visit portal.softafreak.net to sign up now. Call for the USA +1 5029667638 and for Ghana +2 332687888884.